I'm just getting set up here. Yeah, just bear with me here. I'm trying to get set up. I didn't pre-plan for this at all, so I'm starting from dead scratch here. Make sure it's not too dirty. Got a lot of lead in it. Well, I got a good bit to figure out here for this. I was doing a little bit of Googling and looking at movie stills. And I don't think I'm that worried about whether or not it's from the old movie or the new Netflix series, because none of them are the same. They're all completely different characters. On the plus side of that, I think it's going to be, other than coming right out and saying this is a Dark Crystal Skeksis, there's really a lot of liberty just to play with the design and make something and not worry about infringing or anything like that. Obviously, it's a derivative and inspired. But it's not like a character, a typical character that has a definitive design. And to me, it's more like a dragon, you know. Every time you draw one, it can be different. And that's kind of the same thing here. Well, it's one of those situations, you know, if you set up a store and started saying, you know, selling dark crystal Skeksis, then yeah, definitely a problem. So there may even be a way to do something with the Patreon. I'll have to look into it more. There's a lot to be learned from those old masters and looking at their work. One thing I like to do is bring in old paintings into Photoshop and then zoom in and look at the colors. This weekend, I have got to go out and get some more supplies. Need to get some more leads. And a few other things. I'm out of 2B. Now I know I have 2 tubes of lead somewhere. I've put them somewhere. Somewhere so that I would be able to easily find them, I'm sure. Oh, well, we're not doing a production sketch or anything like that. It's just a pattern. Oh, it's kind of scrambling today. It's one of those days. And I'm still kind of chasing my tail. I still don't have a perfect setup in this room. I've got to do, I think I need something where I can mount the camera from the ceiling. And then I'll be in a little bit better shape, get it out of the way. Tripod is just kind of a pain. Oh, here's one of those tubes of leads. It's H. Oh yeah, it is. "20 minutes. No, I think what I need is like 3 attachment points from the ceiling to drop a boom down. And that would be pretty good. I did see when I was looking around on the net today that there is a book somewhere called The Art of the Dark Crystal. I don't know if it's an old book or out of print, but I may have to look for that. Okay, let me grab my coffee and we'll start. I'm sorry. There's 3 distinct parts of this that I think I've kind of identified. Maybe some of it that'll be done in rubber, some that'll be done in hard resin, and then a lot of it is probably sewing, depending on the costume. There's like an understructure where most of that will be hidden. Although in the movie, there's a scene where one of the Skeksis, after losing a fight, gets his armor torn off of him, and you can kind of see his gruesome little bod underneath. So they're kind of like a bird, kind of like a dragon. They've got spikes all on their back. They've got a long tail, so they don't have a bird tail. Yeah, they kind of they have these thorny spikes coming off of their backs, and so their armor is kind of hunched over. They're very vulture-like the way their necks are, and then they have these spikes, and they've got these 2 little T-Rex arms behind their big main arms. So I don't know if it's supposed to be like if it was derivative of a wing or something off the back. So they have regular arms, much like human arms with hands, and then they have these little secondary things on the back. So there was a couple of things I thought about. I thought about doing cable control, and then as I was thinking about that, I think I might want to get something kind of sketched down just to see how big things are going to be, because I was doing some sketches for articulated fingers, and then I started thinking, wait, these fingers might be really, really small. Yeah, that's at 9 p.m. Eastern, Todd. So it's about 20 minutes. I'm watching for it. So in looking at the size, well, I almost think I might have a wire cage for some of the body. I mean, the cooler thing would be to sculpt the whole body. But if it's going to be big, you'll never see the body. So the couple of considerations that I'm having is for like for 12 inches, when you start getting to that size, the sewing gets to be kind of a pain for doing costuming. So I was kind of thinking 16 inches tall. A lot of times you'll run into issues with costuming at that scale, that the fabric is out of scale, the stitches are out of scale. Even 18, which seems big, but it's really not. 20. I wonder, Lando, could you do a Google search and see if you could find anything like a wiki or something that says how tall they are? I have no idea. I didn't think to do that earlier. You know, are they 6 feet tall or? What's going on? I'm going to run another extension cord in here. I bet you there's something out there that has some lore for some of the fiction. So they have those, you know, those little Gelfling characters, which I'm assuming is, you know, tiny, like a little elf or a gnome, dwarf, hobbit, somewhere in that kind of range, and then they're very small compared to the others. So if the Gelflings were like Vern Troyer, then the Skeksis would be like 6 feet tall, I think. Alexa, how tall are Skeksis? I don't have Alexa in my house. All right, now. That kitten has been a path of destruction today. So I'm thinking about 18 inches tall. See, some of them have like their body, and then their headdresses go up considerably above that. And the thing is that even at 18 inches, mark out 18. Maybe do it 16 and then let the costume account for. They're very lizard-like. They remind me of vultures, but their body is very lizard-like. Got kind of a human-looking rib cage up at the top. Very dragon-like feet. Sorry, this will be kind of hard for you to see until I start using a marker. But yeah, so it's really not like when you start talking about the head and the hands, they're not that big. Yeah, so 5'8", and if you account for like a headdress, so you could easily say 6 feet. I thought that exact same thing, Todd. They wish they were 5'9". But at that height too, because of all the, it would be a formidable piece with the robe and the tail. 18 may be too big. So at 14 inches, the head would be about 14 or about 4 inches long. That means the hands will be really small. There'll be no articulation in the hands. Now I could probably cast them with a wire core so they could be bent. That would probably be a good option. So use a flexible wire inside the core of the mold and then pour the silicone around it. So I'm guessing I would use silicone. A little bit better here. I think at this size, I probably wouldn't even really do any puppeting. Maybe the mouth, the eyes would even be pushing it. And then they all have this big collar and a hump on the back. I think that's where all those little spikes are and the little arms. So they got regular arms coming out, and then they have these little T-Rex arms up here. And I'm pretty sure they have like a real lizard-like thigh. More like an animal ankle. And that long tail. It doesn't show up in all the artwork, but in some of it does. So they might keep it inside the robe. Yeah, I think some of that's maybe gone a little far. I don't know. Maybe not. Those are just people. It's cringe to tell another grown man what to do, though. So. Definitely got to tune in and see what's going on there. And they don't have like real crazy dragon fingers with like big hooked talons or anything, or bird. They just have a kind of like more. Maybe that was just because of the puppeting. I think a lot of those bigger costumes had people in them. I know, like those little mystic guys, the guys that were real hunched over, they had a person inside of them. They were real humped over, and then they got a long nose, 4 arms, big long tail. Those are pretty cool too. I looked at those. Yeah, they'll be all right. They're adults. The internet is the internet. What are you gonna do? Oh, they have 3 fingers and a thumb. Yeah, they should get a notification up. Let's just head on over there. Let's see, 9 p.m. No updates, so those should be on any minute. The face on this thing is going to be a lot of fun to sculpt. It's kind of Kruger-esque. Are they live? No. What was that? Got to start yelling at him just so Steve Reese knows we're watching. Watching to see if he's punctual. I guess they are probably more like lizards than birds, except for they do have that real vulture head to them. They all have weird stuff coming off of them. Some of them have like metal pieces stuck on them. Anybody have A plus where you can send her a message? I should get a notification if they go live. Should. There they go. I know in some of these I see without, I do want the tail though. The tail looks so cool. Watch their volume too. They come on full blast. Their music is so clipped. It's like AM radio through the speakers that are just blown.
The tapestry of humanity, it's the Passive Aggressive Hour. I'm Steve Reeves, the bull of American broadcasting, the most famous and beloved man in South Dakota, alongside Chris, Jesus H. Christ Morganti, and Dan, Dr. Feelgood Friel. Jeff, Spaghetti Vetter Simmons, he's behind the boards. He'll take your calls, 877-587-MUFF. That's 877-587-6833. Tonight we have a very special guest in the studio, making her return to the Laughcast airwaves. The once and future co-host of Monumental Waste of Time, the once and future host of Broad Soup, the legendary A+ in studio. Thank you for joining us.
All right, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
And a lot to talk about.
The faceless one.
Chris Morganti with John Kensel.
Yes, this is Steve Reese.
Just saw the TV edit of Snakes on a Plane. It was interesting seeing Samuel Jackson yell, "There's Meshuggah Flapjack eating snaky poos on this Meshuggah Flapjack eating plane." Sure, this movie is 12 years old. What's to you, Captain Tweet Judger McGillicuddy? The guy who draws Marmaduke should do more social commentary and less dogs dreaming about dinosaur bones. because Lenny Bruce and George Carlin were the truth tellers. I'm friends with a Pete Lava, and get this, he lives on Hawaii Street. Man, shit's fucked up right now. It's May, get ready for prom season, the music, the gowns, the tuxes, the limos, the flowers, and the goo goo gaga wah wah wahs coming from the girls' room trash can at the end of the night. Did I mess that up?
No, I know. The problem was you read it
Let a couple of those little spikes stick out.
Ate at Mom's Diner, sign said just like Mom used to make. They weren't lying. The scrambled eggs were burnt and had cigarette ashes in them, and the waitress said, "Move out of my basement already." Carry a guitar case on stage, open it up, pull out a ukulele, say you believe my mom shrank this in the wash, then punch yourself in the face.
And then buy yourself a beach house.
This plastic Freddie Blassie doll is a better manager than my real Hollywood manager, Sullivan Pope, who specializes in elks, moose, hamsters lodges in New Jersey. Yes, there are hamster lodges, like the one in your ass. I spent the past 2 years playing Blister in the Sun on every... I'm sorry. Let me start over. I spent the past 2 hours playing Blister in the Sun on every guitar in Sam Ash, till a mall cop, not unlike Paul Blart, asked me to leave. I'm just like anyone else. I put my pants on one leg at a time. Just ask anyone in front of the window at LA Fitness. My neighbor had a sign on his lawn that said, "Ask me how I lost 32 ounces in an hour." So I did. He told me he swallowed a sham wow. Boing! Hollywood Reporter headline, Peter Rabbit 2 in the works from Sony Pictures. How can this be? He committed autoerotic asphyxiation in the end of the first one.
Chris Morganti. John Kessler's got an excellent for the week. Thank you so much, Chris. Great job. A+ back in the studio.
Yeah, hello.
Say it again.
I said yes, hello.
And been a while.
It has. It's been so long.
You were doing a show here for a bit.
Yeah.
You did one episode.
Yes. It was a good episode.
Really?
No.
No, it wasn't a good episode, you don't think? And I'm the reason why I was your guest.
Yeah, you were. And you were great. You were great.
Relax. But, I did something, and apparently that show is no more.
Yeah, that's not your fault.
I think it is. I have a history. Jeff used to do a show here, and I was a guest on his show. And shortly after that, he stopped doing shows.
But was that Steve's fault that you stopped doing it?
I think it was my fault.
No, it wasn't Steve's fault. I think
But you didn't care. You didn't care for my appearance.
You're.
At the time, you were not happy with my appearance. You said, "No, this wasn't good."
I'm just very overcritical of myself. So, I mean,
but were you overcritical of Steve Breeze?
He was critical. You were critical of me. You were critical of my appearance on your program. You didn't think I brought it, I guess, as the kids say.
Well, you can't win them all, Steve. Apparently, 33 years or 34 years is not enough.
What was it that put you off about that episode? There was something that bothered you. Something you didn't enjoy.
It's all of my episodes, and that's kind of why I stopped doing it. Is just overall my performance, not yours.
And by the way, Jeff's show. Did you ever hear Jeff's show?
I'm sorry, no, I missed it.
It was a very novel idea. What Jeff did was he played classic rock records on the radio. That was.
Whoa! And you didn't stick with that?
It's your sarcasm that ruined the show, Steve.
That's what it was. Was I too sarcastic on your show?
No. I'll tell you, you were wonderful on that episode. I was a total dingbat. I didn't know what I was talking about.
Why did you say that?
Because I was nervous and my adrenaline was going. I listened back to it one time and I noticed, like in the beginning of the show, I said, this is just an example of how stupid I was that day. I made a comment that all men that claim to be feminists are this C word. I called them cunts. Later in the show, you're like, well, I'm a male feminist. And I was like, like just totally ignored it. And that was terrible. Like I should have caught that. And that's just an example of how bad I was. I was dopey through the whole thing.
If I remember correctly, I was kind of coming at it from a different angle. Not that I'm a male feminist, but I'm much more of a true feminist than males who claim to be feminists.
Okay, I could see that. But
Because,
the whole thing was,
I believe in equality, but you have to meet us halfway. You have to do the things we do.
Sure.
I think was the point I was trying to make. I don't know, but
Like piss standing up.
yeah, you know.
I tried. I tried. Okay, I put in the effort.
You were not successful. Well, until then you're gonna have to accept what is it, 7% less, or just some gross
That's
disparity
fine.
in income
That's
with all
fine.
the time off for taking care of kids. Yeah, okay, fine. That makes a lot of sense. That's a true.
All right, here we go. Okay,
Yeah.
we're on to episode number 2.
You
Steve,
don't have to get up any higher.
not all women raise children.
No,
So-
not all do, and the ones who are more
Stay on the
successful are the
table.
ones who don't.
Oh,
Right?
sweet Jesus.
Sound good?
All right, that's a valid point.
I'm pretty sure it's a fact if you look up statistics. I'm not expecting you to do that right now, but later on,
Oh well. For sure.
I'm sure you'll find out I'm right. But I think, Matt, you're not even sitting in the excitement corner.
What do you mean?
Well, usually the people who sit here get this kind of. And I didn't get that way. I just asking what I did wrong.
You did nothing wrong. You were wonderful.
Well,
you saved my butt. Like
You said that. I accept your answer. It's okay.
You came
Relax.
in last minute. It would have. I
Relax.
had no guess at all,
Right.
which
Well,
would have been ridiculous.
you don't think you could sit here and talk for an hour?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think people would be
Maybe.
interested in that?
No, I wouldn't be interested in that.
Do you also not think there's a learning curve? Whatever made you uncomfortable with the result of that show, that you would have been able to overcome by keeping doing it.
Yes, absolutely. I think if I had kept doing it, it would have been fine. I was really nervous on the first episode of MWAT too, and I wasn't good on that. By episode 3, I was killing it.
Yeah, see? So that's what happens. You just have to keep,
Yeah.
to keep things going. Now, when I was on your program, you introduced a segment.
Yes. It's called, do you want me to say?
Yeah,
You do it now?
Please do.
Called Can You Not? Thanks.
Now, if you spell out like Prince, you can figure out what that means. It's sort of like a
Right.
see you next Tuesday. Or
Yes.
something.
Yes, absolutely.
And tell the folks what this is.
So this would have been a segment of just people that I think are cunts at the time. People from my ever-growing list of cunts. But I'm going to try to not say cunt quite so much. Clay Former doesn't really like girls that have a potty mouth. And I like me some Clay Former. So I'm going to try to not say the C word quite so much.
Shout outs.
I'm trying to change for boys. Is that crazy?
Yeah, that's a little
That's
odd.
the least feminist thing I can say.
Be who you are.
Okay. So you want to talk about a cunt now? The first one on my
Listen
list
to
is
her
actually-
go. She's getting them all
I'm
in.
nominating myself because I just did a really horrible thing. No one was hurt. No one would even know if I never tell the story. But I can't shake the guilt of this. So I'll tell you the story quickly. By my house, there's this highway. And a couple years ago, a teenager was killed. He was hit by a car on the highway. That's not the funny part. So his family has erected this poster of him, and there's always flowers and whatever.
That's not the
So
funny part.
I'm a horrible bitch in traffic. Like I get very angry and I say terrible things. So one day I'm on this highway and I'm stopped in traffic right at this picture. I see this picture every friggin' day of my life. Out loud, I said, can they at least update this kid's picture or something? Like I'm sick of looking at it. And then a second went by and I said, oh my God, you bitch. That's a terrible thing to say. So I nominate myself as a C word. And I feel better now that I've gotten that out because that was just poor kid. Of course, you can't update his picture.
Well, you can. I mean, in fairness, there's age progression. They can do that.
They could have done something, maybe an older picture or
Photoshop,
something.
or at least change the picture
Yeah,
for the
change it
sake of
out.
entertainment.
Yeah.
Use some of that aging software.
People that have to look at your dead kid every day on the highway.
You know what they should also do? They should be enterprising and like put ads for cars somebody has for sale.
Oh, yeah, they could rent his face like at the bottom of the dead kid's picture.
Absolutely.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, let's see.
I have to tell him about that. Okay. So not to bring up Wawa. I know every time I open my mouth in front of a microphone, Wawa is discussed.
Well, you mind if I explain what Wawa is?
Absolutely, you
See,
should.
in the Northeast, I guess the Mid-Atlantic region, there's a.
Be right back. I'm gonna use the restroom to fill up my coffee.
In the world, it's a lot like Casey's, but instead of pizza, they have subs.
It's in Florida now too.
And then there's one or two in Florida. So,
There's like 10 to 12 of them in Florida now.
well, yeah, because most people from Florida who live in Florida come from the Northeast.
Drug addicts.
Now, what's a piggy Wawa?
That's something that exists only in the mind of Joe Matarese.
So the cunts I'm noticing at Wawa right now. Well, actually, I'm lying. This was this was submitted by a fan after that episode of Broad Soup, and by fan I mean my uncle. The people that pull up to the gas pump at the ones that have gas stations pay with their credit card for their gas, but then leave the car sitting there and go into the store to get their hoagie and whatnot. Those people are cunts.
So,
Move your car. That's not the parking spot, right?
right.
Don't block the pump.
Yeah. Yeah, Marcia.
Yeah.
Okay.
What if they're trying to do like multitask, like fill all their gas while they go inside, and then they come out and their gas is done, pumped, and they just leave?
I mean, if they're quick about it, I guess that's okay.
Wawa is generally too crowded to pull that move off, but if you can, that's great. But normally it's too crowded for that.
Does your wife really do that?
I've seen her do
And it bothers you?
it. No, but I do see the inconsiderateness of it.
Right. It is.
It is. There's people waiting to get gas. The gas station and the place where you get a hoagie, not a sub, where you get a hoagie, they're two different transactions. You should move your car.
Where do you get hoagie?
Hoagie is because that's what it is. Where do you get sub?
Well, years ago.
Yeah, you love the guy that like buys a scratcher and steps 2 feet to the side, scratches it, and then steps right back in front of you.
Yeah.
I'm curious about what the issue was and how you guys can hammer this out.
Damn scratchers are the worst.
I don't
Worse.
remember exactly how you explained a sub. I think you said it had like lettuce or something on it.
A Zep.
What did I say? Sub? Yeah, I meant Zep.
Well, I'm, having just read a book called The Great Airships, I consider myself somewhat of a Zeppelin expert.
I love how they won't let like a guy smoke a joint, but they'll let him ruin his life with scratchers.
Notwithstanding,
That makes sense.
it was explained to me that a Zeppelin does not have lettuce, which I believe is one of the key differentiating factors, or maybe some other things.
But it's a sandwich. Is a sandwich essentially?
Yeah, it's a sandwich. It's no different than a, I don't know. What it doesn't have lettuce, right?
No, it doesn't have lettuce, and it's on a Kaiser roll. I think you said it was on a long roll.
No, it is on a long roll. That's
It's
why
not.
it's called the Zeppelin.
Yeah. Why would
No,
it be
it's not.
called?
I don't know why, but if you go to Eve's in Norristown, Pennsylvania, and you get a Zep, you're getting a Kaiser roll.
Oh, they're doing it all wrong then.
Oh my goodness.
That's probably why they had to relocate 5 years ago. See, I live in the area.
So you're basing it on, as Tears for Fears said, one headline. Why believe it? You're basing it on one shop.
No, I'm basing it on I'm from like Conshohocken in Norristown. Like I know what Pennsylvania. You know where Conshohocken is?
But why, if it's traditionally served on a Kaiser roll, why give it the name Zeppelin? It would be.
I don't think it was named after a Zeppelin though.
That seems suspicious to
All
me.
right, well I'll Google and then I'll tweet you.
All right.
Later
Yeah,
on.
Do you
We'll sort this out
I'll
later.
do my research.
And we'll figure this out in the meantime. Do you have somebody else on your list of?
Oh, I have so
cunts?
many people I could call a cunt.
Okay, let's go.
Did I just make it for?
You've been penciled in at the bottom right
Please,
now.
please cancel it at the bottom. Please let not one of them be Jolene Letcher. Please, we've had enough.
I would never dare.
Okay.
I would never ever dare.
Okay.
Not in your house.
In
No.
that case, please continue.
A lot of you will be familiar with this. Maybe some of you won't. I'm a fan of the radio program, the great Red Bar,
Right.
redbar.net, redbarradio.net. There is another.
You can only get a .net.
Oh, there's a whole story. There's a whole backstory.
Oh, okay. So
I'll send you links.
There's a reason for
Yeah.
that. Okay.
So there is another program who is trying to copy.
Oh,
And if you compare
It's
the two,
slipping into the
this guy is
passive-aggressive
doing some
hour.
Things that are really obnoxious. It's not like he's a Red Bar fan, so he says a couple words that Mike David says.
Mike David, host of Red Bar.
Yes, I'm sorry. Thank you for carrying me with that. Okay. So anyway, this Blue Room Radio is trying so hard to be Red Bar that it's disgusting. Like he's using Mike David's sound effects. He's trying to copy the way Mike David talks. He's trying to set up his cheap version of the studio to look exactly like Red Bar, which he's never going to pull off because he's just not cool enough. But it's disturbing when you see clips of this how similar it is. So I'm calling David Brinkman.
oh, this is killing me.
David Brinkman
Is the host of
of
Blue Room Radio.
So we have two shows. We have Red Bar Radio. We have something called Blue Room Radio.
Yes.
And clearly one predated the other. Yet this other one is just basically a carbon copy, except things are blue.
Yeah, but it's not even a carbon copy. It's trying too hard to be a carbon copy, and it's not good.
And much less entertaining.
Much less entertaining.
Understood.
It's ridiculous. I refer to it as like watching a high school play that's about Red Bar. Like, that's how good this guy is on Blue Room.
Now, before you get to your next C word, I believe Jeff has a result of the search.
Looking over here, apparently there's two places where you can get Zeps. Is Eves and Lou's.
Oh, yes, Lou's on Main Street.
Yes. In whatever, Conshohocken or whatever that area is. So looking at the pictures from Eves, it looks like it is on a long roll. Now, is the only thing you can get on a Zep is cheese, salami, and tomato?
Yeah, and maybe onions and
onions,
oil and oregano.
But definitely no lettuce. So
There's
kick you right out.
There is no lettuce on all the pictures.
I love that she's shoehorned that in. That's great.
It is on like a round roll, like a Kaiser, but every other picture looks like it's on a long roll, except Lou's looks like a hamburger bun.
Many times it changed.
It kind of explains why Germany lost the First World War, doesn't it? Those damn round zeppelins they kept trying to build.
That wasn't what Hitler blamed it on.
So we're both right and we're both wrong on this app?
Fair enough. Sure.
Chalk it up as a tie.
Okay, well, I'm right, but okay. I'll say it's a tie.
Do you have you want to proceed on your list of?
Sure. Do you want to talk about Joe Mattery?
We can. I don't want to scoot Cameron if it's.
Oh, okay. Then I won't.
Well, no.
No, it's okay.
No, let's. I'd like to hear what you have to say. So.
Well, no, he made the list simply because he got upset and said that he was threatened by someone on Twitter, and he made a big deal out of it. Made that whole post, "I'm quitting at 10 o'clock tonight," and everyone, I received a legitimate threat, blah, blah, blah.
Quitting, you're saying he was going to quit social media.
He was going to quit all of his social media.
And of course, like everything he says, just bold-faced lie.
Right. Well, I took issue with that because when I responded to him that I remember him threatening you and Mike David, he never said anything. And it just pissed me off because it was just so hypocritical. Everyone heard the episode of Monumental Waste of Time when he threatened you.
Right. He said, if he ever sees me or sees Mike David, he's going to something about coming at us with a forearm.
Yeah, he's going to rush you with a forearm to the chin.
That's what it was. Yeah, he was very.
To the fucking chin.
His plans for us.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty sickening. That's why he made the list.
Yeah, well, because he's really, but I don't think that
Yeah.
surprises anybody. The guy is unhinged.
Yeah.
You got rid of the element of surprise.
Yeah, he absolutely eliminated the element of surprise.
Catch you off guard. At least you know what's coming.
Yeah. Oh man, not everybody's FDR. Okay.
So this one is a little more serious and a little more irritating to me. Everyone is bitching recently about the changes to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. Their terms of service and what will get you kicked off and what will get you, shut down, things you can and can't say. So everybody complains about this and everybody's screaming freedom of speech and everything. And it's annoying to me because I feel like these are free services that we don't pay for. None of us has any reason or any right to bitch about getting shut down on Twitter if you're rude to somebody. If that's their rules, that's their rules. It's free.
You're playing in someone else's sandbox to begin with. It's a private, I know it's a public company, but it's a, it's somebody else's rules.
Right.
You're playing under.
Right. Twitter doesn't owe us, the freedom to be able to just be assholes. You know what I mean? Like if you come in my house and you're watching my cable that you're not paying for, and I tell you not to watch a certain thing, you're not allowed to watch that thing, or I'll kick you out. You know what I mean?
Right.
So people bitching about their freedom of speech on Twitter, I'm calling cunts. All of them. You don't do that, bitch.
I don't do what?
Bitch about the freedom of speech on Twitter.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
But don't worry about what I do or don't do. Just if you're calling me out for something, feel free.
Oh, no, I'm not calling you out.
But I did ruin your show, let's be honest.
You didn't
I
ruin
brought
my
your show to a halt with my horrible guest appearance, and you said I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, that was it.
That was it.
It was it. It
Of
was all
course it
you.
was.
I was
Of
like,
course
well,
it
what?
was.
Is this what it's going to be? I got to deal with the likes of Steve Reeves all the time? I'm not doing this.
That's what happened, and that's why there's no more broad soup.
Right. All right. You know who else is a cunt, though?
Who's that?
The WWE. All of them. So they just had this huge show in Saudi Arabia,
Right.
which, first of all, why are you going there? That's stupid. And I heard Vince McMahon only got paid $25 million. Not a lot of money to a Vince. Yeah. Not a lot of money to Vince McMahon, though. Right? So the rule was none of the women could perform in Saudi Arabia. And they still went ahead with the show. And that pissed me off, no end. What do you think about that?
Hey, if you're in their house.
Those are the rules. That's like Twitter. People own Twitter. People own
There you go, Steve.
They have the rules in Saudi Arabia.
Then you don't go to Saudi Arabia. There's no place else they can throw a...
If they're going to give you $25 million and you're a public company, if he's made that offer, the reality is if he's made that offer, $25 million, it's a public company. He can get sued for being non-fiduciary, if that's the term.
What?
They can sue him for not acting in the best interests of the organization.
What?
The shareholders.
Who
The
can...
shareholders.
Oh. Oh, I didn't think about that. You think that's what happened?
That's possible.
Well, either way, I don't think if you have that many women that work for you, I don't think you should do that.
No, I was just thinking you don't want Coco Beware going off on you at a board meeting. I guess I always thought that WWE was privately owned. I didn't realize it was an exchange traded. Yeah.
Well, you're a financial guy. Am I wrong about this? Do you know what I mean?
No, I have no idea. No.
But I'm pretty sure if you make decisions where the company can make more money, but you go against those decisions, you can be sued by the board at least, if not all the shareholders.
But I just feel like you don't sell out your women and you don't go throw a show someplace where women aren't treated fairly.
I don't know. For $25 million, I'd be sending my daughter to school in a burqa every day. That's a lot of money.
Oh, man. But I don't understand. I thought women here were treated horribly because they can be at a bus stop and a guy will make eye contact with them and they feel attacked.
Yeah, that's true.
I thought this was the worst place in the world for women.
It is.
You're telling me there's a place in this world where women are treated worse than that?
Even worse. Even worse. I mean, I've heard stories of dudes trying to pick women up in like the grocery store, and that's just wrong.
That is. What you do is you get your own show, and then you have somebody call that grocery store, and then you talk to those women on the show, and Bob Trump will manage your end. Just a piece of advice for guys who want to take that tack. Does the list continue?
No, not really.
So that's it for.
That's pretty much the. That's the cunts of the week.
Well, that's a good number. They've been accumulating for how long?
This was actually the second episode of Broad Soup was pretty much ready to go, and some of this came from there.
Well, I'm sorry I ruined that, but I need to make amends by inviting you here to let you do what you would have done if I hadn't ruined your show.
Thank you.
Man, oh man.
I forgive you for ruining my show.
You're a camping enthusiast.
I am. I love to camp so much.
What do you like about camping?
Just being outside, drinking coffee next to the campfire, hearing the birds, being in the sunshine. No, you're not into it?
Not into it.
I do it with so much luxury, though. I have a minivan, the Mariah Carey van. She recently had an upgrade. My family was sweet enough to build a bed in the back of the caravan for me. So she's permanently a camper van now. We have just a platform bed built right in there with our storage underneath, and we can just go whenever we want. We just take off.
And that proves the point I want to make. I like camping. I liken camping to rich kids who drink PBR, ironically. They can afford better, but they think it's a lark to dip into the world of the poor man. People who drink cheap beer because they can afford better. And that's the cruelty of irony. It makes a mockery of people who do the things they do because they have no choice. Just like choosing to sleep outdoors, or in your case, in an outdoor place at a campsite, but in kind of a luxury situation. Kind of like jewel camping. is what you're doing. You're basically
Okay, yeah.
you're basically in a Jewel tribute band, but you don't play music.
Oh, they cut off? Or is that me locally?
You're doing it, but you have the
There we
option
go.
to not do it.
Right. Well, they should go get a caravan. They should get a $35 pop-up tent from
It's that
from
easy.
Kohl's to put a toilet in.
It's that easy.
Of course not. But
You know what they say? We're all just one step away from homelessness. That's not true at all.
it's true that's what they say.
Only if you've alienated every last member of your family
I'm this close.
by being an unbearable human being.
I'm not worried about ever being
Are you one
homeless.
step away? No, but you're pretending to be because you think it's a laugh. You think it's a laugh.
There's nothing wrong with sitting outside in nature. I don't do it when it's raining.
What I'm imagining right now is a bunch of homeless people outside an appliance store watching us on a giant stack of Zeniths, just tearing up their A-plus fan merchandise.
Good, screw 'em.
After what you just, even better. Fantastic. Oh man.
It's nothing. Going camping is nothing like being homeless.
Steve, you're
At all.
so you're saying you're opposed to sitting around a campfire, drinking some lukewarm or some tepid Genesee, and listening to some cold chisel or some some replays of B&B.
I don't enjoy that because I can be in a better place. I can be drinking my lukewarm Genesee, listening to Cold Chisel, and talking about Brittany and Balzer.
Those are all perfect things. You just have a couple buddies by a
in
campfire.
a comfortable place, but I still feel as though it's mocking people of less station, less status.
Well, what if you're
Less
like
talent.
going on like a hunting trip and you gotta survive the weekend by like fishing or hunting or something, and you're living off the land a little bit,
There's Hy-Vee. People are doing that for us. We don't have to do that either.
Hey, Steve.
Yeah?
Are people that stay in luxury hotels, are they mocking me because I can't afford to do what they're doing?
No. Because I don't want to make a judgment.
Yes,
Maybe this is true. Maybe this is not. But if you had that option, you would take that option.
What, to stay in a hotel?
All right.
There's places I would love to go and stay in a hotel that I can't afford to.
Yeah, exactly.
So
But
those
if you
people
could, you would.
are mocking me.
They're not mocking.
Well, I'm not mocking homeless people by going camping.
I think you're mocking homeless people. Now, Chris Morgani's a big fan of camping.
No, I just hate homeless people.
You know what it is in reality? I actually hate camping because when I was a boy, I was a Boy Scout, and I don't know what made me join Boy Scouts. There was no reason there is no interest that's exhibited by being a Boy Scout that would have led me to pursue this that I had. There was it wasn't, because like you mentioned wrestling, I was into pro wrestling, I was into, Bruce Springsteen. Nothing to do with camping. But I joined the Pickin' Boy Scouts.
All right.
And I hated camping. I liked all the other stuff. There were elements of camping I liked. We shot rifles. That was always fun. But the idea of building a tent and staying outdoors and sleeping in with the snakes, I can't stand the snakes.
This is very odd to me, Steve, because it was the exact opposite reason I was in the Boy Scouts. I would only show up when we would go camping. Like I'd show up and they'd be like, "We thought you quit 6 months ago." I was like, "No, that was just the last time we went camping." And then I owe like 6 months worth of dues. I never had any merit badges because I would only be there when we were camping, and it's very odd to me. It was the exact opposite thing.
But see, I envy that. I wish I had that attitude because that was not my attitude. In fact, I would just basically cry the whole time.
Aw.
Yeah, no, I was a giant pussy. Just a gigantic.
Was it the snakes and all the creepy crawlies?
Not just the snakes. It was the fact I was worried that something would happen to my mother or my grandparents while I was away, and I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't be there. And this went on for way too long, by the way. When I was in high school, I was in band. I don't think I ever said this on the show, but I was in band when I was in high school. And you know what I played? Take a guess. Somebody take a
A
guess.
skin flute.
Clarinet. Tuba.
Same thing. Cymbals. I played cymbals. It takes a lot of soul for a white boy to play cymbals.
That's not funny.
And we went to band camp, and man, I lasted
But every
2
minute
days.
and a half.
I cried my ass off, and they sent me home.
Because you felt like you were the man in the house. You were the protector,
No,
right?
clearly, I was the woman of the house. Just another woman in the house. But when I got home, I also remember kind of in a morbid way wishing something terrible would happen back up at band camp so that I would look like a genius. You know, and I go, well, he dodged a bullet there. He perhaps literally dodged a bullet.
If everybody else like gets killed or something,
Yeah, there
then,
was some
and you're
sort
the
of
only
tragedy.
survivor, then
Yeah, it'd be like, oh, well, then you're okay. You're
you
not
were smart enough to get out of there.
Yeah, but of course that's not what happened, and I guess in a way, I'm still living it down. I'm sure I could do that now.
What?
Not go somewhere for a while.
So you still don't like to go away? Like if you were gonna go away for like a weekend, what's your first choice? What are you gonna do?
Oh, come on. What am I going to do?
I'm
going to go back home, which is all I want to do. All I'm trying to do, but certain folks won't let me. But this has nothing to do with what we're talking about. No, camping. I guess camping's all right. Not really my thing though. The snakes. Can't deal with the snakes.
I did see a snake when I was picking up kindling, and I had to just step. I like snakes, but I don't like surprises.
You like snakes? What do you like about snakes?
I mean, I don't know. They're cool.
No, they're not.
So, I mean, if there's a snake that lives around your house, you're not going to get mice in your house. They'll take care of that for you.
Oh yeah, that's great because that's what you want. You want snakes. You don't want mice.
Well, snakes don't want to come in your house. They want to stay outside and not let the mice come in your house.
And what snakes want to do is bite you.
No, they don't.
Mice don't. You know, they just kind of nibble at the cheese if the cartoons are to be believed. I don't know much about mice, but I know this about snakes. That they should be on your list of cons.
Steve, have you ever seen the movie Anaconda?
Oh yeah, and with Jennifer Lopez was
And
she in that one?
LL Cool J?
Yeah.
Were you a fan of that movie?
Well, see, an anaconda, I feel like you can run from.
Well, clearly you haven't seen the movie. Half of them can't run away.
Well, yeah.
I prefer mice to
I'm
snakes.
sure LL Cool J couldn't run away if the anaconda was at a crosswalk. No, all
All right,
right.
let's go now to Hillsborough.
The listeners enjoyed that. Chris, sorry.
No, I was just saying I prefer mice to snakes because mice have the classiness to, adorn their houses with Roman arches from if the cartoons are to be believed.
Can I take a second and talk about my hometown of Sioux Falls, South Dakota?
Absolutely.
Can we do a little so-suing?
Sure, that sounds great.
John's not here. He won't embarrass me. He won't ruin my career like he did the last time I tried to do
You
something like this.
gotta stop with that.
Really? You think I'm wrong? You think I'm unjustified?
A little bit, yes.
In my
Steve, I'm
anger.
sorry. I do. I
Okay,
think you're wrong.
please explain to me
That's why I said hashtag Team Pencil
All right.
last week.
Well, please.
Okay, listen, I'm sorry. I have to call you out because, I didn't like seeing John apologize for telling jokes on a comedy podcast. And he apologized last week and it broke my heart. And this whole thing has been kind of contrary to your previous stance of it's all just pig in pro wrestling. And if you say something that somebody else doesn't like, it shouldn't matter because it's your opinion and you're saying it. And then I don't want to talk about it anymore because you're looking at me like you're going to kill me.
No, I'm interested in this. I'm not going to kill anybody. Come on, relax. Everybody's safe.
Yeah, you say things like, if somebody you get annoyed if somebody else says to you, please don't talk about this because I have a relationship with that. And you don't like that. But then John made a couple jokes about Sioux Falls and you like really went in on him. And it was hard to watch. It made me uncomfortable.
Can I say something that I didn't say? And I probably shouldn't say it because it kind of goes against what I try to do when the mics are on. John is kind of supposed to be part of that world. if you know what I mean. See, I can't go into too much detail.
Well, yeah, don't
because of
talk.
trade secrets. But John is supposed to be part of that world. And John clearly, it was the first he was hearing anybody talk about South Dakota.
But all he did was make a couple of goofy jokes.
But if he's really, it would be an odd thing to do, to be making fun of someone you've been, essentially he was making fun of the people of South Dakota. Sitting next to a guy he knows has a great love for his folks back in South Dakota. So I took that personally. And yeah, I did feel like he was unintentionally, I don't think he did it on purpose. I really don't think he did it on purpose. He goes for the joke. That's what he does.
Right.
But on the other hand,
because he's a funny comedian on a funny podcast.
The joke would have been funny 30 seconds later.
You're right. I mean, maybe it's your business. It's between you and him.
But I also feel like, obviously, Jolene Letcher, the gal I was endorsing while John went on his little roast of South Dakota, she lost the election. My hope was to talk to her the following Thursday, and I think we could have swayed the election. But instead, Alton Hagen next Tuesday is going to take the gavel.
You're not for real blaming John Kensel for Jolene not being mayor of Sioux Falls.
Absolutely, I am.
You're crazy. Now I don't feel bad for calling you out. That's crazy.
David Soul has been silent on the issue, so I assume I'm the only most famous and beloved man in South Dakota who made an endorsement in the election.
Right. I'm sorry.
I think it's whoever you talk about just goes to shit. Like, look at David Z. You fuck that guy.
Yeah. I mean, you may not know this, but everybody blames you for that. So.
No, he didn't blame me for that. He blamed day laborers for not returning the signatures on time, which is true. Oh,
I'm sorry, Steve.
You know, Hardcastle and McCormick are like 0 for 3 on too, so you're not alone.
Well, this coming Tuesday, as I said, Alton Hagen will be sworn in as mayor of Sioux Falls. We're all rooting for him. God bless him. Hope he does a fantastic job. And this week, the Sioux Falls City Council approved the purchase of $290,000 worth of audio-visual equipment to be installed in Carnegie Town Hall. And that's where the mayor and the council meet. Now, some folks say the equipment used to record and broadcast council affairs and present the occasional zombie video. It's all outdated and needs to be upgraded. Perhaps. Could be true. But I have a different hope. And I have absolutely no evidence to support this. But I'm going to go ahead and say it's entirely true. Mayor Tin Hagen, and that's very difficult for me to say, but Mayor Tin Hagen plans to use this new year to do a daily morning zoo webcast called Waking with Tin Hagen. The whole deal, like wacky sidekick, sound effects, stripper pole. If he does this, I might even endorse him for the next election. And you know what? I might even stop listening to Brittany and Balzer and enjoy Waking with Tin Hagen. Now,
Wanking.
You were not impressed with Tracy Balzer's stand-up, A+.
No, it was terrible.
You really thought it was that bad?
Yeah, it was awful.
But she did a bit where she goes to the lady business doctor, as she calls it.
And she was lying. It was so hacky. I'm not even a comedian, and I went and tried to tell jokes that were that hacky.
But I want to tell the people what happened to her when she went to the lady business doctor. There was a nurse Nancy there who was there. The doctor was a male, so Nurse Nancy. Nurse Nancy.
Name for Grace.
No, man, you're killing me. Nurse Nancy was there to make sure it wasn't a date.
Right, you have to have a female nurse in if your thing's a guy.
Right, exactly. Now, Nurse Nancy did not know that Tracy Balzer was Balzer from Z93 in La Crosse, Wisconsin.
She didn't recognize her immediately?
No, it was until her pants were off. See, you're laughing.
Because that's funny.
Of course it's funny.
Why didn't you hear her?
You actually thought a woman comedian was funny?
Am I going to have to explain this again?
I think hell froze over.
Jeff, am I going to have to explain this again? I never said women aren't funny. I said women are less successful in comedy. And again, I dare anyone to scour our archives and find one instance of me saying women aren't funny.
I'll dig.
Please do.
Might take me a couple years, but we'll return.
It's not going to happen. You're not going to find it.
What'd you think of her saxophone playing?
Did I hear her? I may have blocked it out if I heard it.
Mediocre at best.
But she's not a saxophonist. She's a radio personality.
Then why was she trying to play the saxophone?
How did she compare to Bill Clinton in his Arsenio appearance?
Bill's a better player.
Oh, yeah.
But what didn't you like about that bit? I don't understand. You were just laughing, and you said, hey, this is...
Well, what you
a
just
funny
said was
situation.
funny coming from you. It's not a funny situation.
But I
That's
said
not
nothing
true,
that
and
she
it never
didn't say.
happened. It's not. It was so obvious that she was lying. There was no truth. She wrote some crap and thought it would be funny. That's not funny to me when comedians do that. Like, there has to be at least a little. If you're going to try to tell a story like that and make people laugh, it should at least sound like it's true.
I don't believe that, Dan. Do you believe that?
Well, I mean, I thought the way that you told it was very funny because you.
Well, of course, I
Yeah.
testicles.
However, I think it would have been a lot better had you gone at some point. You would have been like, and the doctor was like, "Brr," and I went, "Brr."
I don't remember what the actual jokes were, because it was very forgettable. But there was one that she
Not
told.
if you've watched it 123 times.
There was something that she said that it's a joke that women have been telling since the beginning of time, and I don't remember what it was.
All right, well.
But it was old, not original. It was a lie.
In that case, I do suggest you check out the Morning Buzz, and you'll see that I'm right. It's an entertaining program. She brings an atmosphere of fun, Tracy Balzer does.
Okay.
Chris Morini, anything you'd like to chat about?
Well, I'm a little bit taken aback because I did not know this, that if you have a male gynecologist, there needs to be a female nurse in the room. Is that true?
I'm pretty sure that's the rule.
So it's not a date.
So if someone says, I'm going to meet my gynecologist at the Four Seasons, or they grab a couple bottles of wine out of the cabinet and be like, I'm meeting my gynecologist at the BYOB, that's not how it works. Because when I get home, someone has some splaining to do, huh?
You really think comedy has to be true? Someone gets on stage and they tell a joke.
It doesn't-
Everything, and there has to be a fact check. There has to be a lie
No,
detector.
no, that's
Polygraph?
not what I think at all. I think if it's not true, it should sound like it's true. It should be an original premise that you came up with in your head, and you should be able to make me believe that it's true. Or it's a true thing that you've exaggerated to make it funny.
And you don't think she did that? You don't think she executed that?
No. First of all, gynecologist jokes are stupid. First of all.
I just did one.
That one, shit. I am the worst. All right, thanks for having me this one time.
I thought
Sorry about that.
gynecologist joke stunk.
Oh, jeez, Jeff's on fire over there. You're killing us, Rickles.
I'm sorry, Chris. That's not what I meant. I'm thinking like women.
But see,
telling those jokes.
Speaking of women, you're going to worry about that now that you said that.
I feel so bad, like I'm ready to cry.
But see,
I'm gonna cry.
that's exactly what you can't do. You can't worry about things like that. Do you think there are things people say, obviously some I make more of than others, but there are things people say on this program I don't agree with, or I don't like, or I think, oh man, I wish people hadn't heard that. And there are things I do every week where I say, oh man, I wish I hadn't said that.
Really?
It's just part of, yes, absolutely. It's part of doing a show. It's part of having an hour to fill, and really you just have to talk, and God knows what's going to happen. During the show, when I kind of dissected the situation between me and John, where John ruined my career, you don't think he did, but he did. He ruined my reputation that I was trying to build in my hometown, and still kind of a little pissed about that. But I know John didn't mean to do it. He was just being John, and he's a funny guy. I'm Tom Snyder. He's Soupy Sales. I understand it's a little weird that's a weird combination.
Have they been together?
No, but there's a reason for that. It's kind of my point, when John, what was I saying? Does anybody remember what I was saying? I had a great point too. Let me tell you.
When you were dissecting the situation.
I was dissecting the situation, and I started to play the audio of John kind of stepping on my endorsement of the wonderful Jill Lee Ledger. Sadly, not the new marriage, because of John. But all right.
when I was playing the audio and I was talking, I said, oh, by the way, I love the sound of my own voice. I said that for a reason, because we had an hour to fill. And I thought, you know what? I have to say something kind of buffoonish, so no one can take whatever I might say for the rest of the show seriously. I've obviously exposed, geez, man, did I get here early. I've clearly exposed myself as a blowhard, so that if I say something offensive, you can't really, you have to take it with a grain of salt, as the kids say.
Sure.
Did the kids say that? That's probably older than most kids.
Yeah, I don't think the kids say
Yeah,
that.
none of them say that. But that was the motivation behind that sort of outlandish statement. And in that way, you mentioned pro wrestling, and I think it all is.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as, I mean, we've all had situations in here where we say things that we feel like, oh man, that shouldn't have happened.
Yeah. I've had a lot of those.
You feel that way, but I don't think you should feel that way.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You walked out one time when you were the co-host of M1.
Yeah.
You walked out of the studio.
I did. I was really angry.
And you want to talk about why you were angry?
Sure. It's not a Mattery story, but okay. So when I was on M1, we had invited Joe Matteries to call in to be a guest on the show. And we had some other wonderful guests here that day that I was really excited to see and to talk to. So we had invited Joe on. And I believe, if I remember correctly, he originally said he was going to be on. But on the way here, he texted Karen. And what he said was, I don't mind telling this now, even though we promised him we never would. What he said was, I don't think I should come on. I should just lay low. Things were rough for him at the time, like on Twitter and, people bashing him, whatever. So he said, I should just lay low. I don't want to come on. Karen tweeted him back and said, okay, don't come on, but are you going to go on Jim and Sam? Like trying to, help Joe get this situation cleared up. And Joe was like, no, I don't think I'm going on anything. This can't be helped. And he was it was almost a suicide note. He was being a real sad sack, like with this whole story of, I can't do it, blah, 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 right? Mm-hmm. So then we're sitting here having our show, having a good time, everything's great. Joe friggin' Matteries calls and wants to just start chit-chatting on the phone. Like nothing's going on. And then has the audacity when I called him out and I was like, I'm pissed off at you. Here he goes. A plus, I'm going to be honest with you. I was in the mountains and I didn't have good phone reception. And I wanted to scream, like I had made the promise that I wouldn't talk about the text messages, so I didn't do it. But I'm like, are you friggin' kidding me? You just wrote us this whole story about how you're too, screwed up in your head to come on the show. But you're going to call and interrupt when we're doing stuff? I was pissed.
Right.
And I think I had every right to be pissed.
Absolutely. And you walked out. You showed your disgust.
I had to get up and walk out because I was probably going to start throwing shit. Like, I don't know. Like, I was going to smack Karen in the face. I wasn't really. But like, I was angry. I had to just get away. Like, Joe Matteries just put me over the edge.
Yeah.
He's too much. He's a frustrating individual.
Not a good guy.
That really makes sense. I remember that episode and remember thinking that was a strange reaction. And I remember Karen at some point and say, what were we going to do? Bump Joe Matteries for parking Tiger? Like,
right. and that's what got me is, Karen knew what those text messages were. You know what I mean? And it's also a respect thing. If you say, like, I tried to tell Joe later in another conversation, you would never do that to Anthony Cumia. You know what I mean? You would never say, no, I can't come on, and then call in the middle of the show.
Right.
Now, we're not Anthony Cumia, of course, but there's a certain level of respect that you treat other people. There's a professional respect. We were doing a show,
Yeah, and not only that, Joe doesn't seem to have any respect for anybody he can't get immediate use out of.
Right.
This is something I've only noticed lately. He seems to be very tuned into only the people he thinks he can use in some way.
Right.
We do have a caller. You want to, at our peril. Caller?
Uh-oh.
Hey, I know you guys are talking about Joe Matteries and how he was inconsiderate, and I agree with you 100%, but I wanted to call to talk about something different.
Yeah?
You were talking about the homeless earlier.
Oh, yeah.
And, they don't call them the homeless
Here it
anymore.
comes.
I just wanted to let you know. Now they call them Banksy's biggest fans. So, that's the politically correct term.
Okay, we'll make a note of that.
And you said Yeah, and you were saying how camping is an insult to homeless people? That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
I don't believe that either, because I have here a big book of insults for homeless people, and I don't see anything about camping in it.
Well, what do you see?
This one here says, "Back off, you smelly tent dweller." Oh, wait a second. This is actually my big book of insults towards Native Americans. I guess it still kind of counts.
Another strike against me back home.
One time I was out and I saw two homeless people making out. It's disgusting. So I shouted, "Hey, why don't you two get a library bathroom?" I gotta get going. I'm drawing a mustache on this roadside memorial picture.
Thank you so much, Colin. Fantastic. Dan Trill, anything you'd like to talk about?
I don't know.
Chris Morgana, anything you'd like to talk about? Do we want to get into what I discovered? If you can see that, I had a hard time. I tried to print it, but it didn't come out so clear. But the other night I was watching a Philadelphia Phillies versus the San Francisco people living with giganticism game.
Very good, very good.
Yes, hashtag height privilege. And, during the commercials, my computer sucked up. I mean, my TV sucked up on my computer, so I'll look up stats and different things, And I came across something that involves a baseball Hall of Famer, and it's a casting memo from Paramount Studios regarding Star Trek: The Next Generation. And so this was like 30 some years ago at this point. Yeah, I guess from the 80s. And what I found the reason it was linked to baseball was that for the role of Geordie LaForge, in addition to the man who ended up playing him, what was his name? LeVar Burton? Mm-hmm. Yes, from Roots. There were some interesting names. One of them was Wesley Snipes. But another, Reggie Jackson, which I found fascinating, because as you all know, Reggie Jackson was a star of The Naked Gun, a movie from the 80s, right? Movie. Yeah, but I couldn't imagine him pursuing a serious acting career, right? So it seemed to... really thought there'd be more to this. I just realized, see A+, I just made the mistake of the show. I just made the mistake of the show, and this is what's going to bother me. If I didn't say anything about this, nobody would have noticed, but this is what's going to bother me. I should have just let Chris sit here and try to justify bringing up how Reggie Jackson almost did the LeVar Burton role. He was preferred for the, and according to this memo that I discovered on the internet with an official Paramount Studios letterhead, he was the preferred person for the role. Yeah, and you did show me the memo, and he was by far he was the favorite to land the role. So something else I noticed by looking at this though is that there are 10 people listed as possibilities for the role of Geordie LaForge, and all of them are black. And I realized why, because if anyone knows that show, he's the guy that wears like a thing, like a sunglass or a visor type of thing. Right, because he's blind. Right? He's blind, yeah, but the thing allows him to see. And he sits at the thing steering the ship. And so I realized they just wanted somebody who looked like Stevie Wonder. And that was like their whole casting call. It was like, can you get someone who looks like Stevie Wonder? Because it's fucking hilarious if he's the guy driving the ship. Well, Reggie Jackson would have been all wrong, because like eventually that guy became like the chief engineer. He was like real cerebral. I used to watch the show when I was a kid. But Reggie Jackson, you got him on your show. You want him to, he's got to stir the drink, right? He's got to be out there punching aliens in the face and stuff, right? I don't know. I thought it was interesting. Apparently not. See, A+? See, I made that mistake. I should have just let him try to find the nut in the bit. We should just sat here and let him talk his way through it. I thought that was a great observation about Stevie Wonder, by the way, and that would have saved it if we had taken that route. But I'm going to hate what I just did. When I hear this back, I'm going to hate what I just did, and I'm going to say, man, I just should have let Chris talk. Should have let him talk. See where he went with that. So
that's pretty cool.
My point is, we all do things on the show that we deem mistakes, sometimes in the moment and sometimes later on.
Yes, next time I'm watching a baseball game and I find an interesting memo, I'll keep it to myself.
No, I did think that was interesting.
It is
It has
interesting.
nothing to do with.
By the way, Reggie Jackson, if he had these acting aspirations, what the hell happened? He was never in anything again. It like speaking of, like he went home after that audition and was like, well, that sucked. I'm never doing this again.
Maybe he realized he had $1 billion. And thought,
Come on, get down.
Didn't he?
Get
Was
down.
he the one that wore real big glasses anyway?
He wore big glasses.
I'm trying to picture if I remember who Reggie Jackson is.
Didn't everyone wear those glasses in the 70s, though? I feel like that was the style at the time.
Well, I'm just wondering if he played that role, would the visor thing go over the glasses that he already
Oh,
had?
I see. Yeah.
A+. Anything you didn't talk about, you might want to talk about.
No, I'm good.
Okay, I realize we have a caller, Jeff. Okay, caller.
You are a toilet-licking retard.
So's your mom.
All right, so that.
I don't know what that was.
Yeah, it's meaningless.
A what licking?
Yeah, I didn't realize.
Yeah, I didn't hear what they
Yeah,
said.
please call back and do that again. We missed the actual description.
Let him get his whole delivery going.
Any questions you have for us?
Anything about Reggie Jackson? I'm a bit of an expert after last night.
No. I mean, I want to talk about Clay Former's Patreon,
Okay.
which is
Oh,
really
no,
cool.
no.
He's a guy. I guess he's a fan of Red Bar Radio.
He is.
And the name Clay Former comes from the fact that he's literally a clay former. He forms clay. He's a potter.
He's an incredible artist,
Mhm.
and he can do a lot of stuff. And I made a joke earlier about being all hot and bothered for Clay Former. It's actually not true. I just really like him. He's a really good artist, and he's a nice guy.
Aw,
And
come on.
He's really funny. He does these streams on YouTube where he'll be working. You can watch him sculpt. He's working on the Anthony Cumia mask. I don't know if you've seen this. He's going to make an Anthony Cumia mask, and it's really cool. And you can watch him do all this different stuff, and he interacts with the chat. When people are chatting on YouTube, if you ask him a question, he knows everything about everything. What's that?
Is the mask made of pizza? Sorry, I had to do it.
Actually, that's okay. Sorry.
I'm a big fan.
Of Anthony Cumia?
Yes.
Of pizza.
All right. Well, I still like you. But so he does this stuff on YouTube. So everybody should check that out. Go on YouTube, look for Clay Former, and watch these streams. But his Patreon is awesome because it's not just giving him money. He's doing these projects, and when you are a patron, it works as like a savings account to buy the thing. So you're giving him money monthly to help with materials and costs and all that stuff. And then when the project is finished and he puts things up for sale, you've already put into it. He gives you the thing if you paid enough, which I think is really cool. I think that's
That's a novel way of doing it. You don't usually hear it being done that way.
Yeah, you don't hear if you're buying something for $65 from him and you've given him $65 on Patreon, he just gives it to you. So I think that's cool.
But my experience with Patreon, my knowledge of Patreon revolves around Joe Matarese.
Yeah, don't
I'm
just
not used
forget
to
all that.
anyone following through with promises
Yeah.
that they make on Patreon. Caller?
You are a toilet-licking retard.
Oh, toilet licking. That's what it was.
Toilet licking.
Toilet licking.
Okay. Well, thanks.
Whatever that was.
That's
Although,
all right.
in fairness, didn't specify which one of us that
Yeah,
was.
it's only us listening right now.
In the
So
original one, it was A+, but that might have been directed at someone else. We don't know. All right, Jeff. I know you don't know. I'm just looking at you because you answered the phone. It's all right. Sorry.
Technically, you answer the phone when you say caller.
I understand. You know what that is, by the way? Caller, do you know what that is? Does anybody know what that is?
Well, what's his name? It's the old guy with the suspenders.
No.
Oh.
Close.
Talk radio
Donahue.
show.
Donahue, caller.
Oh, yeah.
Phil Donahue. Oh, another
What was
mystery
that
solved.
Is
movie?
he still alive?
Yes, he is.
Oh, good.
You really don't like Tracy Balzer? I don't understand. I think she's a funny gal.
I mean, all I know of her is what you've played and what you've talked about.
But
So
you've clearly not been interested enough to follow up on it.
I'm
and,
sorry.
See what else she does. She's in a sketch group and an improv group called Part of Lacrosse.
Well, then clearly I'm wrong about her not being funny. Clearly I'm misguided. I'll have to look that up because anybody in a sketch and improv group is going to be mind blown.
Well, by the way, you asked me before the show. You said, "Are you really into Brittany and Balzer? Or is it a joke?"
I did.
You think it's a joke?
Who can tell?
What would the joke be?
I don't know, Steve.
Exactly.
I don't know.
It would make no sense for me to pretend to enjoy a radio program.
It wouldn't be the first time people pretended to like stuff and built bits around it.
It would certainly be the first time I did.
Okay.
Dan, I think he can speak to this.
Oh, he's a big Brittany Balzer fan. It is genuine. He's putting in the work.
Absolutely.
I'm sure they're great, and I'm sorry for talking smack about your thing. I'm sure it's wonderful.
See, you're doing the girl thing. Don't apologize, please. Please. Stand your ground. Stand your ground.
Well, I mean, it's rude of me to talk shit about the terrible radio show you listen to.
The only thing terrible about it is today's top hits. They play all of today's top hits, and that's it. Today's top hits are not very good.
How much time do they talk? Do they play like 2 songs and then talk for 15 minutes, or do you just get bits and pieces in between the songs?
My guess is if you put all the talk together, it'd be like maybe 20 minutes. There's a lot of today's top hits. You hear some of them multiple times.
Yeah, that would be hard to get through.
Yeah. Are you familiar with Ed Sheeran?
Mm-hmm.
You know that song "Perfect"? He has a big hit record on the radio, "Perfect." And it's basically a ripoff of Umberto Tozzi, the guy who wrote Gloria.
Okay.
It's basically a ripoff of his song "Ti Amo."
Oh, I did not know that.
And but the lyrics are shit.
Oh yeah.
No attempt at rhyming. Here's what I don't understand. It's not that difficult to rhyme.
I have to remember how it goes. I like Ed Sheeran though. I think he has some good songs.
What do you like about him?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know that much about him, but the couple of songs that I heard,
enough
I
to
thought,
know you like him.
Yeah, I mean, he's all right.
Yeah, okay, caller. Jeez, Jeff is losing his mind. The callers know we get to
Yeah, I heard the last.
Yeah.
The last caller was talking about toilet licking retards. I just want to say that's kind of an insult to the homeless if you're doing that as a hobby. They have to do that, and it's not cool if you're just doing it as a hobby, okay?
Right. Makes a mockery of those who have to do it for sustenance. I understand, and I agree. Absolutely agree. Dan Frill, plugs. Chris Brianni, plugs.
So now, when you listen to Brittany and Balzer, do they ever dive into the Paramount Studios archives to find some memos about casting? Or is that a passive-aggressive hour exclusive?
That's what it is. Plugs? Any plugs?
No.
Okay, A+, plugs.
No. Like former teacher.
How do you feel about tonight's show? How do you feel about the way it went?
I think it was fun.
No,
was
see,
good.
fun. No.
No, I feel bad because I was stuttering like a jerk.
Really? Yeah, I don't stutter like a jerk. Come on.
No, you
the
don't.
Difference
You're
is, I stutter like a jerk. I stammer like crazy. But the difference is, I don't care. You have to not care.
Well, now people are calling me a toilet licking R word because I was stuttering and sounding like a jerk earlier today, and now I'm never going to be on a podcast again.
People do that because they're just pulling pranks.
They're jealous of me, aren't they?
They're jealous of you. That's exactly what it is. So no plugs?
No, I said Clay Former's
Patreon, absolutely. Jeff Simmons, plugs?
No, but I have a couple options for
show title. Yeah, let's do that.
I've got
toilet licking. Never mind.
I've got Can You Not Thanks.
Oh.
And all the upper cases that need to be uppercased. Insult to the homeless. Someone has some explaining to do, and I threw one of mine in there. Gynecologist jokes stink.
Well, Benny Michaels has been silent and in studio for 45 minutes. Benny, would you like to choose the show title for tonight?
Or knock something over. Your choice.
Yeah, geez, just break everything if you can.
No, but
It's like on tour with the Who over here. Yeah.
It's a show I've been watching. It's a new show. It's in its infancy. It's called Talking Blue. And it can be found on Facebook in the group I believe is called.
Oh boy!
I don't know what it's called now. I think they changed it.
It was Blue Bar Radio.
Geez,
Yes, and it's an after show that discusses the show Blue Room Radio.
Okay, so can you not? Thanks.
Talking
Can we
Blue.
do that? Does that sound good?
I like that.
So, yeah. In that
That's
case,
hilarious.
Michaels, thank you for finally piping up. Jeff Simmons, Dan Friel, Chris Morgani, Nick Vollmer, A+. I'm Steve Reeves. Ask me.
Oscar Wawa.
I'm Megan now.
Tech Cat, see you
Good
tomorrow.
night, sir.
That was pretty great. No, Rich went live again. Oh boy, what a work he's got going. I can't believe that Blue Room got a mention on this show. It's insanity. So that's 18 inches, but definitely that's too big for a number of reasons. For reproduction, and then just if anyone decides they do want one, they don't want to have to build a wing onto the house to store it. That's pretty big. So probably in the 12 to 14 inch range, I think. It's going to be a lot. With that tail, the tail's going to go out to There, probably. Yeah, it'll be wider than it is tall. I can coil the tail though. If I go smaller, I'm not going to use any cloth. I'm going to sculpt the whole thing. Like if I did 12-inch, I would sculpt the whole thing. Oh man, there's a menu here for Chinese delivery. That sounds good. I love stuff to be bigger. You can do so much more. But that's too big. Well, I think what I'll do is I'll photograph this and then bring it into Photoshop and scale it down. Then I could just build the armature right off of that. I'm just going to wing it when I sculpt it. It doesn't have to look like anything except for something derivative. It can really be just kind of like full creative license. My phone is going to light on fire. Make a peen on it. I'm sure it's pretty gruesome. Yeah, I haven't seen that in many, many years. Hell comes to forgot about that movie. Hell comes to Frogtown. As they should. I don't think he's just going to give it to you. There's a few pictures of these guys with their gear off, and when they get up to the top, they've got like a human rib cage style. And then they come down into more of a little tiny hooked arms up here. Emergency transmission. All right, so I'm going to photograph this and then I'm going to scale it down to 14 inches. I think that'll be a lot more manageable. And then I should have, well, I might have to order some clay. I have to order about 5 pounds or so. But I think I'm going to call it a night. I had kind of a weird day today. It's all over the place. Started off with the power company shutting me off so that they could change a transformer outside, and it kind of threw everything off. Oh, all the materials to make the mold for the mask came today. So we will be starting that this weekend. For moving forward with progress. If y'all think of anything else with this, or to have opinions on size, the Fool's Face with an apostrophe in Facebook, you can come there. And I believe I started a thread on it, but throw your opinions in there. Let me know. Thanks a lot, everyone. We'll talk to you later.